All right, so I just want to talk about camp this year real quick and give you guys some important dates. And then as far as money, talk about that, and then also tell you where we're going, all that kind of stuff. So this will be our second year going to Fuge. Centrifuge is the camp that the Southern Baptist put on, and so it's done all around the Southeast, really. They also have it in California and some other places, but there's probably 35 locations at any given week. Last year was our first week doing it, our first year doing it, and so this year we're going to go back. Centrifuge, we had a real good time, and so we learned a couple lessons from last year, some very important lessons, and I'm going to tell you about one of them that we learned right now. Last year I called the deposit debacle, and it'll go down in infamy when we talk about Bridgeway history. So last year, here's what we did. There's a deadline for signing up, and you have to have a deposit in by then. It happens to be the same amount that Bridgeway gives you. Bridgeway is always giving everybody $50 towards camp. And so last year when we signed up, I said, great, it's the same amount. Awesome. I talked to the teens. I had like 24 teens tell me that they were going to go. And I was ecstatic because that's a big group. That's almost every one of our teams we had. And so I put the deposit down for them all. It was great. And then in the coming weeks, I found out that most of the teams never even talked to their parents. Their parents were like, no, you're not going. We're going somewhere else that week, or we got vacation. So my 24 people whittled down to, I think we ended up taking 12. So it became a huge ordeal for us to get back that deposit. That deposit is non-refundable, so we kind of just told them, look, we're just a dumb new church. This is the first time we've done it. Please give us our money back. And so luckily, at the last minute, they did. So that was a huge lesson learned for me and for us. So this year, we're going to do it a little bit differently. Bridgeway will still give you that same amount of money, but we're going to do it on the back end, if that makes sense. So that way, we know that people are invested and actually going to go when they are signed up and say they're going to go. And so also with the location, we learned a lot. The Southern Baptists are very, very organized. If nothing else, boy, they are organized. And so by the time the deadline came last year, I decided a couple days early, great, I'm going to go sign us up for camp. The camps that we've been to in the past, I mean, you could literally sign up the day before and go, and it would be fine. So 2 days before the deadline, I went and signed up, and I was excited. We were going to go to Carson Newman. That's where I went to college. I went to go sign up. It was booked. Okay, let's change the week. Found out it's booked the entire summer. Oh man, so I looked at the next camp, booked the entire summer. Next camp, I looked at every camp that I could find. I even looked at New Orleans. I mean, going very far, but they were all booked. And luckily, we happened to have Union College, where we went last year, and luckily it had some dates open. And it was the only one in the country that had any dates open by that time. So I also realized that the deadline is not the time to book camp. You got to do it months in advance. So we learned some good lessons and changed a lot of that stuff for this year. Okay, so this year we are going to go to Charleston Southern University. So this is Charleston, South Carolina, not Charleston, West Virginia. Okay, Charleston, South Carolina is where we're going to go, and we're excited about that. Next slide will tell you the dates. It'll be June 18th through the 22nd. That's the same week we went last year. It's kind of third week of June. And we kind of try and keep it pretty close to those same dates each year if we can. So we're going to be doing Mission Fuge. All right, so let me just tell you what that is real fast. Centrifuge is kind of the big name. Centrifuge is kind of the regular old camp. Where you go to camp, you have games, you do all sorts of stuff all day, you have fun all day long. Mission Fuge is sort of a hybrid. It's sort of a hybrid between camp and a missions trip. And so that's what I love to do. And so what this is we have a lot of fun at the camp, but then we also go out and serve throughout the day at different areas. So different ministry tracks that you guys can choose from, that kids can choose from. So this gets them out in the community serving for probably 4 to 5 hours a day in some different capacity. And then we still have the camp experience. In the morning we have chapel, in the evening we play games, there's lots of worship and stuff. So it's kind of like a best of both worlds, if you will. And I love that. I love the kids getting out there and serving. I'm all for having fun as much as we can. And I would think that most people would agree, most teams would agree, they had a lot of fun while they were serving. Maybe not Simon, he did a lot of work last year. But even Simon, in the midst of that hard work, there were some fun times. All right, so there's fun even in the serving as well. And I think that more than anything else is going to help grow our teens in their walk with Christ. If you get out there and serve, that's a huge step. That's a good way of maturing in your faith as well. So let me give you some idea on some of the ministry track options. I just want to give you an overview of them. The first one, evangelism is usually the least popular option at camp. But now this year it's going to be on the beach. So it might be a pretty popular one this year. All right, so beach evangelism, that's something they can do. Let me just read to you real quick. So this track is designed to show students how to build relationships with people they meet. Specific ministries may include handing out refreshments, organizing beach activities, or simply engaging people in conversation. This track will have students sharing their faith and the love of Christ in a tangible way. What this track is not bring your towel, bring your sunscreen, and chill out on the beach all day. In fact, you're not going to be in a bathing suit while you're out there doing, evangelism. So this is a real ministry track, and it'll be really, really fun. The next one is children's ministry. I did this one last year, and working with children in a variety of settings, including VBS, backyard Bible clubs, day camps, other site-specific work with children. Last year we did, it was like a day program that helped the impoverished children just have something to do throughout the days, and it fed them lunch. And so we kind of just played games with them in the afternoon. It's sort of a backyard Bible club type of thing. But that's the children's ministry tract. The next one is called PCY, and that stands for Painting, Construction, and Yard Work. And it involves students doing light construction, yard work, repairs, cleaning, and painting. This track gets the students into the community, helping alongside such organizations. This camp has a relationship with Habitat for Humanity, also different churches, different government things they could be doing. So this one gets out there and kind of doing the dirty work. Last year, I will admit that our PCY group was a lot harder than it probably should have been. They did some hard, it was not light construction. It was forced manual labor. I mean, just out in the sun all day. So that was pretty hard. So normally it's not like that. Okay, so normally it's a lot easier stuff to do. But that is one of the tracks that they can choose from. The next one is social ministry. This track provides students with a variety of ministry opportunities. You may minister in mentally or physically handicapped centers, nursing homes, homeless shelters, soup kitchens, food banks, clothing closets, furniture distribution centers, and the list goes on and on and on. And the last one, I believe, is special needs ministry. This track meets the needs of children and adults with special needs. Opportunities include Bible teaching, crafts, music, sports and rec, field trips, and more. So that's kind of a combination between social and children. It's just kind of a combination there. So let me give you some camp info really quick. Yes, you have a question? Huh? No. It just might be in the wrong order, that's all. But yes, we talked about that one. All right, so let me talk about camp real fast. So go to the next slide. So last year, Union College, we went to, and it turns out it was a very good intro camp for us to go to. It was a very small camp as far as, they've got small, medium, and large. Think of it that way. So last year was a small camp. When we were there, it happened to be the biggest week they had all summer, and we had about 275 students there. I think 290 was the number, but small camp. This year, this will be a medium-sized camp, and that means, depending on the week, it could be up to 900 students there. So it's a lot bigger. It's still considered a medium-sized camp. They've got ones that have almost 2,000 kids at them. So medium-sized camp, that actually has a couple of benefits for us. The reason I picked Charleston, and in fact I signed up at the end of camp last year, the reason I picked Charleston was because some of the staff that had worked at Union College had also worked at Charleston. A lot of the staff, what they do is they work at different camps each summer. So through their college career, they'll work at 4 camps or so. And a lot of youth groups do the same thing. They'll go to different camps each year to experience a different city and all that kind of stuff. We had a couple that have worked there, and so this was the one that they recommended as being a medium-sized, but being a really, really solid camp. They've got a long working relationship with a lot of their ministries and stuff, so that's why I picked it, kind of on recommendation for that. And some really important info regarding the size of the camp and how it actually helps us. The only I would say bad experience from last year, and overall it was a good experience at camp, the only bad experience was because it was a new camp, they didn't have those solid relationships with those ministries that we worked at. That's why you guys did very hard manual labor. They didn't have a really good resource for that. With the kids ministry, we had one day that the kids didn't even show up at all, and that's because they didn't even know that the kids weren't even going to be there that day. So some of that was kind of the bad thing. This year, this camp has been hosting in that location since the year 2000, which I made all the kids today in youth group, in Sunday school rather, raise their hands if they were born after 2000, which I think that was everybody. So this camp's been there a long time, so they've had a long time to kind of get those relationships with those outreaches set and solid, so it's a lot more solid when it comes to going off camp. All right, so it's also a bigger campus, but it's still a pretty small campus. It's kind of on the edge of town. If you look at a map of Charleston, it is not like down by the historic district. It's a little bit out, so it's not like kids are going to be wandering around on those streets and everything. It's kind of an enclosed campus, a little bit smaller, a little bit bigger than last year's campus, but still a small one. And then of course the town itself is bigger, so we'll have more to do. On Wednesdays, the camp schedule has us coming back early on Wednesdays. We have a lot of free time on Wednesday afternoon specifically. They have free time throughout the week to enjoy on campus. But Wednesday, they have a big block where we're able to go do something. Last year, we were at Barboursville, Kentucky. The writings are here. Madison's there. They're from that area. Barboursville, Kentucky, let me tell you what's around. Nothing. It is in the middle of the hills of Kentucky, and so there was nothing really to do in our free time. There was a water park in the town that we thought we would go to, but it turns out it was a great place to catch herpes. I mean, that's kind of the place. It was not really, but it's one of those places where you're like, no, I don't think we should go there. So we ended up not doing. So last year for our free time, we just ended up hanging out on campus. A lot of people took naps. No. Hang in the dorms. This year will be a little bit different. We'll have a lot more to choose from. This year we will go off campus and we will visit historic downtown. I think I got a slide for that. So we'll go to the big downtown district. I know you guys have been there, right? So I've not been there before. I'm looking excited. I'm excited about it. But we'll be able to go do that. We will also eat off campus that night. So we'll have a meal together somewhere in Charleston. I don't have those details yet. I need to look into it. We will have details. But it'll be just a fun adventure for us to do. At least there's something to do outside of campus. Okay, so let me talk about the last thing right here. We're talking about dates, and then deposits, cost, that kind of stuff, all right? So I don't remember if I have a slide. Do I have a slide? The next slide, Shawnee? Shawnee. Okay, just back to that. Okay, go to the next one. The sign-up deadline, I'm going to put it as Wednesday, January 31st. Technically, it's February 1st, all right? But that's the day I've got to get stuff in. So I'm going to put it one day earlier for you guys. January 31st, I just need to know who's coming and who is not. All right, because after that date, I can only add if there's room at the camp. And so we know, since I know from last year, these camps are all sold out. So by the odds are, after February 1st, I can't add you. Now, I've got a lot of spots reserved. I think I've got 24 spots reserved. So I've got that many, and I did that on purpose, so we should have extra, and I can take people off. But that $50 deposit is due by then. Remember the deposit debacle I talked about? If for whatever reason you're having trouble coming up with it, just talk to us, let us know. We can work that out. But I just don't want to put that money out there and then have somebody be like, oh, we're not going. So that's why I want you guys invested in it, all right? So that's due by then. Now again, Bridgeway will still contribute $50 for everybody, but we'll do it on the back end, all right? So let's just talk about some more cost here. So total cost for camp is $350. That's up a little bit from last year. Last year was $276 for the total thing. Now that's without Bridgeway giving the money off, by the way, so $300. Last year was $276. This year's camp is actually, I think, $316 or something. The reason I said $350 is because this year I would just get a little bit extra money. That way we'll have money for the meals. Because last year, here's how it worked. On the way down, we stopped for lunch. Everybody had money. On the way back, we stopped for lunch. Nobody had money. Because everybody spent their money that they're supposed to keep all week. Everybody spent it at camp. So $350, that will include meal on the way down, meal on the way back, and that Wednesday night meal in Charleston. So really, Bridgeway will be paying for a little bit of the meals there. But that's where I came up with that number of $350. Bridgeway would give you the $50, so we're really talking about $300, all right? So here's how it works. That sounds like a good amount, all right? Because the camp used to be, we would go up the road, and camp was only like $150. So it is a little bit more. Obviously, we're traveling a little bit further as well. Obvi. All right, so each year, Bridgeway does work days. We do work days pretty much the whole month of May. Every Saturday is dedicated to work days, and we pick up some extra days here and there. So in years past, if a student did all the work days, they didn't pay a dime for camp. They paid nothing for camp. Actually, Aaron had extra. Typically, the student, if they work all the work days, they've got extra money And here's how I was asked a student, do you want to give it to somebody particular, your extra, or do you want me to just spread the love? And so I leave it up to them. But we've not had a kid come to all the work days and had to pay anything for camp. Now this year's camp is a little bit more, so maybe there'll be a tiny bit, but we're talking, 15, 20 bucks if work days go as years past. So I encourage you teens to have them be at every work day that they could possibly be at. Just because, free camp, come on now, all right? So encourage them also, we got a while before now in June, encourage them to do some jobs around the house, around the neighborhood. If we get some snow, they're talking maybe a Monday or Tuesday, some snow, getting out there shoveling some driveways or something, have them make a little bit of money. Between now and then, we may have some odds and ends jobs around the church, or we can connect you with somebody. Ask me like, hey, you have a team that can do this, I can connect you guys. So we may have something before work days actually start in May, but we'll at least have all those Saturdays in May. The work is not hard. Last year you guys cleaned out some horse stables. It smelled like horse duty for a while, but still you got paid for it, so not bad at all. All right, so, the way it works is deposits February or January 31st. The remaining balance is due by June 1st. And so what I will do is if you want to, I keep a running balance of all the work days. So getting close to that June 1st day, you can get a hold of me and say, hey, how much has my son or daughter earned? I can give you that total and let you know if there's a balance at all and what that balance is. All right, so I did have somebody ask me about like multiple children. Some of you guys have multiple children. Centrifuge doesn't do a discount for multiple children, but like I said, the work days should take care of most all of the camp money. And I'll have another meeting closer to June that just kind of tells you a little bit more details, what time we're leaving. I know it's Google says it's a 9-hour trip, but obviously we'll be a little bit slower. We will take 2 vehicles this year, because last year we were packed in the van. Yeah, so as of now, depending on how many people go, Amber and I will be the chaperones again, just like last year. If we have more kids, last year with 10 or 11 kids, it was fine for Amber and I to be the only chaperones. But if we have more, then I might put it out for some other chaperones, yeah.
Hey, this year, Jacob, don't be playing no Uno in the girls' dorm.
Yeah, Jacob. Seriously. That does bring up a good point. So all these Fuge camps are at college campuses. So we're in dorms. Last year, they were completely spoiled by our dorms last year. They were like apartments and everybody got their own room. All right, that's not normal. So just get it in your head now. You're going to be sharing a bunk with somebody. Huh? Yeah, you had a kitchenette, a microwave, all sorts of stuff. All right, so I wanted to keep it as brief as I can and still give you guys some of the details. Does anybody have any questions offhand? Yes?
I missed how much the deposit is.
50. Yes. And that's January 31st, remember. Anybody else? Questions? What you got, man? You got a question?
We made the check out to Bridgeway?
Yes, yeah. Yep, because we have it goes through Lifeway, and we'll just pay Lifeway one big lump sum for everything. Yep, so you can even put it in the offering. If you do that, just mark the envelope, what it is, camp deposit, and just, if it's kind of close, like let's say it's the Sunday before January 31st, you drop in the offering, just make sure you let me know. I don't do the offering, but Angela does, so I'll make sure that at least I know if it is in there. Any other questions? All right, cool.